You check the number again tonight. And it was enough. It has been enough for a long while now. The account full, the bills paid, the door locked behind you. So why does the room still feel this empty? Nobody warned you about this one. You were raised to fear the other thing. The empty pocket. The unpaid bill. The quiet shame of not having enough. You spent your best years outrunning that fear, and you did it. The money came. The security came. Then one ordinary evening in the stillness after the work was done, a stranger sat down beside you. Not the fear of losing what you have. Something stranger than that. A flat, gray ache sitting in the middle of your chest that the number cannot reach and cannot soothe. There is a name for that ache. It isn't sadness. And it isn't ingratitude. So you can put that guilt down right now. It has a real shape. And once you see the shape, you can feed it. I'll name it for you plainly before this walk is over. But not yet. Because here is the part that will surprise you. You did nothing wrong. You worked, you provided, you kept your word. You built something real with your 2 hands. You only carried bread to a man dying of thirst. You fed one hunger with the food that belongs to another. There are 2 hungers living inside every person, and only one of them was ever hungry for money. Let me tell you about a man. Don't worry too much about who he is. Call him yourself further down a longer road. He builds a house. A good house. The house he swore for 20 long years would let him rest. Stone that stays cool in the heat of the day. A gate with a heavy iron lock. More rooms than one man could ever hope to fill. And on the first night, he lies down in the largest room. The silence is the deepest that money can buy. He stares up at the ceiling, and he cannot sleep. So he decides the house is too small. He builds a bigger one. And in the bigger house, on the first night, the silence is even deeper than before. He lies awake again. The same ceiling. The same ache. Only a little more marble now between him and the stars. You already know this man. Perhaps you have been this man. The house was never the problem. A third house would not have solved it. Somewhere underneath, he half knew that even as he signed his name for it, the house was an answer, shouted louder each time, to a question the house was never asked. There is a kind of hunger that grows the more you feed it. The more he poured in, the wider it opened its mouth. He thought he was chasing comfort. But he was running in the finest shoes in the whole city from a small room inside himself he had never dared to enter. So let me say the thing this whole walk turns on. Let me say it plainly, because part of you already knows it is true. Your peace was never a money problem. It never was. You have been knocking harder and harder year after year. Knocking on the right door for the wrong ache. The right door, the wrong ache. There is an old line that cuts straight through all of this. The prophet, peace be upon him, said that wealth is not in having many possessions. True wealth, real richness, is the richness of the soul, the self-sufficiency of the heart. Sit with that for a single breath. He did not say that wealth is evil. He did not tell you to empty the account or burn the house down. He said, You have been measuring the wrong thing this whole time. A full hand and a poor heart is the most crowded kind of empty there is. Richness of the heart, not of the hand. Here is the shape of it. And once you see the shape, you will not be able to unsee it. Every soul is given two kinds of provision. The old word for it is rizq. Two kinds of rizq from the same generous hand. Two provisions, not one. The first is the provision of the body, money, bread, a roof, shelter from the cold, a lock on the door, medicine when the fever comes in the night. It is real and it is necessary, and there is no shame in it. You were meant to seek it, and you did, and you have yours. But hear this closely. It only ever reaches the outer man. It stops at the skin. The second is the provision of the heart. Contentment. Nearness. The quiet certainty that you are seen, that you are held, that you are never carrying the whole weight of it alone. And that provision, no amount of the first will ever buy it. You cannot pay the heart in a currency the heart does not spend. And there it is. The whole mistake laid out where you can look straight at it. You took the honest wages of your two good hands, and you tried to feed a hunger that eats something else. Of course, the number stopped meaning anything. You were pouring clean water onto a fire that was never made of wood. The heart was never starving for more. The heart was starving for stillness. It wanted stillness. You kept bringing it numbers. The same guidance tells you to rise early, to earn, to provide for the people sleeping under your roof. And that same guidance tells you in the plainest words what the heart is hungry for. There is a verse. It says that it is in the remembrance of God that hearts find their rest. Read it slowly. Hearts find rest. Not in the balance. Not in getting more. Not in the next deal. Not in the bigger house. In dhikr. In remembrance. In turning, even for one slow breath, toward the one who gave you the hands that earned all of it. Hearts find rest. The word that verse uses for that rest is a beautiful one. It means a heart that has stopped pacing the room, a heart that has stopped bracing for the next thing and the next and the one after that. A heart that, after all these years, sits down at last. So what do you do? Tonight, with the full account and the empty room, with all of this true and none of it yet felt. Nothing dramatic. You don't sell the house. You don't give the money away. You begin bringing the right meal to the right hunger. Tomorrow morning, before you reach for the phone, sit still for 10 slow breaths. Don't check the number out of old habit. And say the name of God. Quietly. The way you would say the name of someone you love and have not called in far too long. Not to ask him for more. You have more. You have enough. Say it to remember that you are a guest here. Everything in that account is on loan. And the loan was never the point of your life. You are a guest. You were always a guest. Do that one small thing for 1 week. Don't measure the account. Measure the ache. And watch what happens to the emptiness. Not because a single number changed, but because you brought your own heart the one meal it had been starving for. And that ache I promised to name for you. It was never lack. You have no lack. It was distance. Nothing more than distance. The quiet, aching distance between a man and his own heart. A heart that has been standing in the doorway this whole time. Patient. Waiting. Hoping that you would stop building and come home to it. Money bought you the house. Money can buy almost anyone the house. But it could never, not for one night, move you back inside. So tonight, check the number one last time, if you must. Let it be enough. Because it is enough. It has been enough for far longer than you have let yourself believe. Then set the phone face down. And in the same quiet room that felt so empty an hour ago, say one word of remembrance into the dark. Only one. And notice how the room answers you. The same account. The same walls. The same lock on the same door. And a different man sitting in the middle of it all. Not richer. At last, at rest.